This is Flight 420 requesting permission to take off on Mystic Mushroom Way.
Permission granted for Flight 420 to take off. Buckle
Buckle
up,
up,
it
it
might
might
get
get
bumpy
bumpy
and
and
we
it
might
might
get
get lost.
lost. I've lost it. It's MJ.
And this is Shawn.
We're going to start off with um, how weed affects people differently. How we could be smoking the same pre roll, the same blunt, the same wax, the same pen, the same strain, everything. And I could feel completely different than from what you feel.
Like the dispensary people will tell you that, oh, this blunt's gonna make you really happy, but in reality, it makes me more down, and then it makes you happy. So yeah, that's why I'm like, I don't. It just affects me the same way. It just makes me more confident, more
Yeah,
calm.
that's what happened the other day actually. You were like, this is supposed to make us happy and I was like, okay, hell yeah. I mean, I'm already happy, but like, okay. And it just like heightened my
I,
happiness, but you didn't feel any different.
but I got happy
Well, you
once.
got high.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's crazy because sometimes you'll be more higher than me, or sometimes we'll be smoking. I believe sativa's more of a out and going. I believe that's right, right? Okay, so sativa's more out and going. So one day that the dispensary guy was like, "Okay, this is sativa. Try it." Jail was more up and going, and I went straight to bed. So I don't know if it has to do because of how much we smoke, but weed doesn't affect people just like some people get paranoid. It just doesn't affect everybody the same way. It helps me sleep. I'll hit it in the middle of the night. If I don't have it, it's like I'll fall asleep in like 5 seconds compared to sleeping medicine that takes what 45 minutes to an hour, sometimes longer. So yeah.
Shit. One of like the main reasons that this was one of the topics was because you had mentioned that a whole bunch of people recently that you've been talking to and like meeting don't smoke weed and are like, no, I can never smoke weed. I hate weed, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, yo, like some people have been like coming up to me and saying that, or they're like, how are you high at work? How do you function when you're high like that? Like, how do you do that? And I was just like, I don't know, dude. When I'm not high, things are harder for me. Like, working is harder for me. And
Yeah, I've been running into a lot of people that I know, I'll just like, or I'll be in the comments as the people say, "Oh, I can't smoke," or it's paranoia, or I'll see somebody, I'll meet somebody and they'll say, "Well, I don't smoke because uh it just makes me mad," and it's like, I didn't know that weed affects people that way. As more as it, that's why I guess people talk bad about it because of their own experiences. But there's also good things about it.
that's like digging into, that's like how people assume that if they have a bad experience, everybody has a bad experience, or how they feel on weed is how everybody else feels on weed, and that's why they're like, how do you function like that? How do you go and work when you're high like this? When we could be smoking the same thing right now, but I'm probably feel way different than you. Like, we smoking the same thing right now, but we might feel way different from each other. You never know. We could be feeling the same, or we could be feeling completely different. And that's why there's a lot of people that are like, "Oh no, weed is bad. Don't You shouldn't do weed. Never try weed." And are like, "This happened to me on weed. You should never try it." And then I'm like, "Dude, I'm high right now."
No, yeah.
But I know a lot of people who, when I was a stoner before, were like, "If you smoke, I can't be friends with you," or like, "You have to stop smoking. It's bad," or "This is gonna happen if you keep smoking. You have to stop." Blah blah blah. And I was like, "Dude, what?"
But then they're the ones drinking, ruining their worse
Yeah,
than what weed does. Doctors actually tell you to smoke weed. They don't. They tell you not to drink alcohol.
I mean, some doctors tell you to drink
Yeah, like
wine,
wine's
but
good for the
like,
heart or something. But like in
um,
all reality, like brain neurologically, there's some guy with Parkinson's. Weed helped his Parkinson's.
alcohol.
No weed.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, weed helped
but
it.
see, some people, if they smoke weed, it can uh relieve pain and make you be able to do things or whatever. And sometimes people can smoke weed and the pain won't, like, the physical pain won't go away. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, for some people, I could like, for me, for instance, I smoke weed and I'm no longer hearing all of these like voices in my head and all that shit. But for some people, they smoke weed and they hear all of these voices and they're like hearing things and seeing things. But that's me off of weed. You know
it's
what I mean?
it's crazy how people see shit like that, but we don't.
When they're on weed,
Yeah,
when they're like high and shit
how
like
it
that.
affects them. Like it's crazy how they see shit, but we live every day the same, just on the edge. You know?
Yeah, see, it affects everybody differently. And honestly, I bet you like some of the people who like tried wax for their first time
Yeah.
and then heard things and were paranoid and were seeing things won't ever try weed again. But then, the, like, I've heard that like when you do wax for the first time doing, like, you should not do wax the first time you ever smoke weed. That shit's gonna hit you like a truck.
Yeah, God, I did wax one time. And yeah, yeah,
I mean, now we smoke wax,
I
but
was
like,
like shivering in the corner like a chihuahua in the rain. That's how it affected me. And then after then, I got used to it. And then it's like, but it also makes you wonder, when you were younger and it's like, I'm not going to do it because look how it makes you. It's crazy how now we are thinking on the other side of that, how weed has changed our lives compared to when we were judgmental about it.
yeah, and we were like, oh, I'd never smoke weed, blah blah blah. I
Hmm.
mean, in all reality, yeah, it's crazy. We
Yeah.
used to look at people or we used to smell it and we used to be like, ew, that's so
Yeah.
gross. And now I
Or
smell
see
it and
people
I'm
around
like,
us addicted to it.
relief when I smell it.
Yeah. I, it gives me joy because it really has changed my life.
Dude, seeing it, I can see it sparkle. Looking at weed, I can just see it sparkle.
When I look at weed, I I don't know because I used to because mainly after bonfires, like don't get me wrong, I used to smoke it because it looked cool, but after I started smoking it and yeah, I probably got paranoid on the first time, but after I tried it more and more or dose by dose, I um I got to learn, then I got to experience it like medically. I tried it for my back to see if it helped my back, and it's helped my back. It helps me be more clear minded. So yeah, I smoke it every day, and it's I am dependent on it. I'm not gonna say I'm addicted. I'm dependent on it. That's what Lance said, so I'm just gonna use that. Um, oh, it is. Alright. I started smoking because I thought it was cool, but then like the more I started smoking and microdosing off of it, I got to know and experience it on my own ways it can affect me because it's talked about as a drug, but like your first time smoking, don't get me wrong, your first time smoking, most likely you'll love it. I loved that my first time because it felt like all my problems went away and I just was by myself. So yeah.
Crazy because I first started smoking weed so that I would eat again. And then stopped smoking weed uh, because of people. And then, like, because people were like, oh my God, weed is bad, stop smoking weed, you can't smoke weed, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to tell your mom. And I was like, okay, you little rat. I won't eat anymore. Fuck off.
That's how my dad was saying when I ate with dinner with him. When he came down here, he was saying that his daughter Sam couldn't eat, and he would always call me a pot smoker, lazy. And here he is. He was like, "Yeah, I gave her some weed and it helped her sleep and it gave her appetite because she used to starve herself." And look at that, he was always against it.
Exactly. It's crazy to like, um,
The people you least expect are now smoking it.
well, I just think it's crazy because I would literally not be eating, and these people who were supposed to care about me, people that were supposed to like care about me,
Yeah.
and like be there for me, didn't even realize that I wasn't eating. And then I started smoking weed and I started eating, and then these people that were supposed to care about me and care about my well-being were like, "You can't smoke weed. If you smoke weed, I'm going to tell your mom whether we're together or not." And I was like, "Fuck you."
Mm.
And then so I stopped smoking weed and then I stopped eating. Yet, and none of them noticed. None of them.
I don't know how to respond to that one.
But like, that's to go and say like, you don't know. Yeah, you could see this fucking crackhead or this fucking stoner in the streets and be like, "Oh, they're just stoned out of their mind." Blah blah blah. But you don't know why they're smoking it. So why are you gonna go and judge them and be like, "Oh, they smoke so much weed, this and that, like they're just a stoner," or go smoke their pot, like, and go and like basically bully these people when you don't know why they're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
When they could have all this pain and all this shit that they're going through, and it's helping them like, one, not hurt themselves, eat, not kill themselves,
Exercise.
not go insane. Like they could be doing it for so many different things. But there's so many people out here that look at somebody and they see that they're smoking weed and they're like
Quick to judge.
assuming.
Assuming they're lazy.
But then hear me out. If they go and they actually meet this person, like there's people who will be like, "Oh, they're just a stoner. They're just this, they're just that. They're going to get nowhere cuz they're always high." And then they'll meet this person and they'll realize all of these things that they like have in their head because they're stoned out of their mind, and all of these things that they're accomplishing and all of these things that they're getting through and all of these things that you could look at and be like, "How the fuck are you getting through that?" There's multiple people who have come to me and been like, "How the fuck are you okay right now?" And I've been like, "Oh, whatever. Like, it's fine." I'll go and I'll say things that happen in my life so nonchalant. People are like, "What the fuck?" And I'm like, "Whatever." But anyway, they'll go and they'll meet this person and they'll be like, "Holy shit, like, you're incredible. You're amazing. You have all these ideas. Like, you're like so smart. You have your life together. You've been through all this shit." And they're like, "Yeah, I smoke weed, dude. I'm a stoner.
Getting shit done.
Just heightens my thoughts, bro.
Yeah.
Makes me not think about all this other shit that I'm going through and heightens everything else.
Creativity. Explore.
Brings me, I guess.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah.
Yeah. That's why they call it Everest. That's fucking genius. I just thought of that while we're talking. I had to put that in there.
Good job.
Reaching new heights. It brings me, yeah, reaching new heights. Because without weed, I mean,
But then you have to go and you have to think about it the other way. We could be like, people could come to us and say that they're like going through, or they're like, that a certain thing is like happening to them, or they're going through something, and we could be like, "Oh, just smoke some weed."
yeah.
But
It's like we know what they need.
it could affect them. It could not help them. You know what I mean? Like we could be like, "Oh, smoking weed helps us," but it might not help them.
Yeah, like that's why it's like when people give, it's on the topic, but it's like when people give me aspirin,
It doesn't help.
it doesn't help. It may help your head, but
no,
it
like
may not help me.
ibuprofen, aspirin, Tylenol, none of that helps me.
Mhm.
Like if I have a headache and I take ibuprofen or anything like that, The headache is still there.
I don't know. Like I feel like if I was working, I miss my old self sometimes.
So then stop smoking weed as much.
No, because I don't like if I quit, I'm gonna want to quit cold turkey, and that's just I don't want to go insane. And I feel like if I do, the only way for me to quit is to lock me in a box and keep me there. Because if not, I know there's ways to get weed, and I'm gonna want to keep on doing it, keep on doing it. But
Brandon, are you addicted
yeah, no,
in a bad way?
I've been smoking since last March.
Okay, but are you addicted in a bad way? Because you're over here like, I
I spent
want to
thousands
stop,
of
but I
dollars on
can't.
weed. Thousands of dollars on weed
And is that why you want to
since
quit?
March. No, it's not a money thing. It's a basically I don't know. I miss my old self sometimes. I don't
So
know,
then stop smoking.
but I love weed. But like I don't hate weed. Like I love smoking. It's not I don't want to smoke with you. It's not any of that. It's just like it was even before that that I wanted to. I feel like everybody. I don't know. I feel like my life went falling apart after.
Okay, so get a job and see if that helps you.
No, I feel like oh, that's what it is. I feel like how much weed I've smoked. I feel like I have nobody in my life, like no family. I feel like it's like all my problems. Weed has made me realize all my problems cause burden on people, and I hate it here, and I have to deal with it. So that's why I smoke constantly, because it gets away from that. So when I was living on my own, I probably would stop smoking. Yeah, but that's really the only.
That's fucking bizarre. Don't put your
Oh shit!
fucking shoes
I'm
on
so
my black
used to
cane
that.
right now.
But
That's crazy. You said that you want to stop smoking because you want to be clear minded. When the only time I'm clear minded is when I'm high as fuck.
that's how I am. At the same time, but like I miss oh, feeling human.
It's harder to stay clear minded and calm and not dissociate when I'm sober. So I can do it fine and I could catch myself starting to dissociate and I can bring myself back when I'm sober, but it's a lot easier for me to go into real life and to go to my job and to go out into the real world when I'm high because it's easier to not dissociate and it's easier to pull myself back in and it's easier to ground myself when I'm high. And so I can more be clear minded when I'm high. Is that good?
Yeah, because
Okay.
that actually helped me with what I was talking about, the final conclusion of what I was talking about. Um, with the whole like someone was telling me like you hear all these things like if you can't do if you can't work without weed, if you can't do your daily life out without weed, you're addicted. And so I think that stigma has recently got in my head that it feels like to me my whole life is crashing down because how much weed and how many fucks I don't give. But I love not
Okay,
giving a
see,
fuck.
so I can do life without weed. I can be sober and I could go and I could participate in real life, but I'm not going to enjoy I won't enjoy like being out with people as much. I won't enjoy being at work as much. I won't enjoy talking to people and being in a crowd. I won't enjoy being in the mall in a public place where there's a whole bunch of people. I won't enjoy the crowd as much if I'm not high, if I don't have weed. It makes it easier for me to be around people and to read people and to read the room and to look at somebody and know and like read kind of how they're walking, how they're looking at me, whether they're going to hurt me or not. It's easier for me to be sober and not freak about it. It's easier for me to be high. And then if I'm sober, I don't really like going out. I don't like being in a big crowd. I get claustrophobic. I don't like being at work because if as soon as I'm in that kitchen, everybody is touching me because we're running past each other and like we're walking past each other and we're focused on what we're doing. So we're like bumping into each other and it's crowded back there. Or like out in public, people will be walking past you, people be looking. The old men nowadays, bro.
You notice
God.
everything when you're high.
I notice everything when I'm sober too
Oh,
though.
sober,
Like,
yeah. Oh, much more sober.
yeah. Have you realized that?
Oh yeah.
No, but I notice everything when I'm high too. I just show it more when I'm sober because I'm freaking out about it. Because I'm like, holy shit, holy shit. But I know everything that's going on around me. If you tell me something, I'm like, yeah, I know, I saw it. Have you realized that? That
Yeah.
you'll come to me and be like, hey, did you like fucking see that? I'm like, yeah, I did see that.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I can see everything that's going around us. You could tell me something that happened right there and something that happened right there at the same time, and I would know. Just because of how and I have intuition like a motherfucker, dude. I get feelings, and if I'm not high, I freak out about those feelings and I start dissociating. But if I have intuition and I'm high, I know what it's about and I know what's gonna happen. But
Yeah.
when I'm sober, I'm just I have this aching feeling in my chest, and I'm like, I'm gonna fucking puke, dude. Something is about to happen. Or something happened this last night or something. Somebody did something. I can feel it, but I don't know what it is, and I hate it. But then when I'm high, I can understand what those feelings are, and I can understand what's happening.
I'm emotional wreck when I smoke weed. Like I feel like the how much I've smoked, I'm more of an emotional person now. I sense I have feelings for things I never thought, like certain animals, or like if I look at a homeless person, I just want to cry. Just like it makes me more like a wreck. Like it makes me a emotional wreck. Like I have feelings. I'm not numb inside. It's crazy. Mhm.
Crazy how you
That's
talk
why
about.
when she said I love you when we were fucking, that's why I was like, well, I don't like, you know, feelings are a lot more sensitive
It's
when I'm high.
crazy that you talk about numb. Hold on, we're gonna pause this real quick.
Mhm.
Okay, sorry, I'm back. I had to. This is gonna be raw footage. Brendan has never heard this before, but I had to go grab something. Okay, I don't know if I'm gonna post this, but I'm gonna read it out loud right now and decide later. Because I'm kind of freaking out about this right now. Okay, I wish I could find simple words to explain the feeling of being numb. But that's the thing. There's no feeling. You can't explain being numb. You can't explain why you would do something to prove to yourself that you're alive. There's no way you can explain to someone the actions you take to prove to the voices inside of your head that this is real. I can't tell you to shut up or how I really feel or how I really think or what's really going on in my head. The real reason I would take being by myself over anything, you couldn't take it. Pain sees pain, but pain can't see nothing. Pain is temporary, but I'd rather feel the pain than nothing at all.
Damn.
Are you about to cry right now? Because I was reading that and I was crying. That's why I started stuttering.
Both of us crying. Tough subject.
um, you know why we're crying?
See, the
We're
weed got me
high.
mentally unstable.
We're high and we can feel it because we've both felt
On
that
feelings. See,
feeling.
I felt that.
We've both felt the feeling of being numb. And now that we can actually feel something,
Look at that.
reading that hurts because I would never want to put anybody through the pain of being numb. Because when you come out of that, it hurts so bad to think that you could
Yeah.
go back to feeling like you are nothing and like you do not exist in a world where everybody around you does. Like you don't know what you're feeling like. You don't know what's happening to you. You don't feel like you exist. You don't feel like the people who are looking at you, you feel like they're looking straight through you because you can't feel it. When somebody's eyes are on you, you can't feel their eyes looking at you because you feel like you don't exist. You feel like they're looking straight through you. Even if they're waving at you and you're waving back, you feel like they're waving at somebody behind you. You turn and you're like, hold on, were they actually waving at me?
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't feel anything.
Yeah.
And that sucks. Who knew talking about weed could get so emotional?
I know it's crazy.
Okay.
That's funny.
No, really. Um, we're gonna move on from the emotions. I've learned a lot. Like I could say, I honestly feel Like, I have learned a lot. I meet new people and they're like, holy shit. Like, that's crazy that you're only 20 and you know this much about life and you know how to just live, but also be able to survive, but have fun and do what you want. And you also understand a lot of things. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I guess it's just what happens when you gotta like raise yourself, basically. But um, one of the main things that a lot of people come to me and they're like, I don't understand how you do this. Like, how do you do that? How do you let go of things so easily? How do you just like, yeah, okay, it's fine. Who cares? And be able to forgive and forget as easily as I do. People will come to me and be like, how are you already over that? And I'm like, it's whatever. This life is only temporary. You're only here for a certain amount of time. Why are you going to let the way someone treated you, something someone said to you, the way someone is acting towards you affect you for half the time you're in this life? When you could just be like, okay, that just happened. That's fucked up. I would rather that didn't happen to me. I'm going to remove you because you're just going to keep doing that. I've already told you once, told you twice. You're just going to keep doing it. I'm just going to remove you because I don't want to go through that pain. I don't want to feel what you're making me feel right now. And I'm not here for forever. I'm only living in this life temporarily. I don't know if you think you're immortal or not, but if you're making me feel a way or you're affecting me in a way I don't want you to affect me, or something is affecting me a way I don't want you to affect me, I'm going to forgive you and I'm going to forget about it and I'm going to just move on because I'm only here for a certain amount of time and I'm going to enjoy the time that I am here. And if you are causing me to not enjoy the time or something is causing me to not enjoy the time that I am here, I am going to forgive it, forget it, and move on and try to not let it happen again. Because
Yeah.
you're only here for a certain period of time.
You only live once.
So why am I going to let something affect me for more than what it should? If you're crying for something, if you're crying over something for more than 15 minutes, you're no longer crying over it because it's causing you pain. You only need 15 minutes to cry about something. And then if you continue crying after that, you're just crying to cry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or
Wow.
that thing is just not.
Taking a negative and removing it. Yeah.
Exactly. If you don't want negative in your life, why aren't you just getting rid of it?
I'm learning.
There's
that
so many people.
every
There's so
day.
many people that come up to me and they're like, "How do you get rid of all this negative shit?" And I'm like, "All these people are so negative. All this is so negative. I'm so tired of this. I'm so tired of that. I'm so tired of the way this person is talking to me. I'm so tired of the way this person is treating me." Okay, get rid of it.
Mhm.
Get rid of it.
Mhm.
It's so easy to just
But it's funny because
gone.
usually I'm just gonna name names. Anna. She doesn't like it. She posts all these quotes on her Instagram. Oh, I hate the negativity. I hate men. Blah blah blah. I want to be by myself. But you allow it coming into your life.
Do you
But you
remember?
treat people the same way. You get what you receive.
Do you remember almost a year ago when I came to you and I said, "I am tired of boys, bro. I am tired of boys. If you ever see me with a boy again, I swear to God, it's not going to happen." Every time I have started talking to someone, every time I have started like being like, "Oh, blah blah blah, I kind of like this person," the second they've acted like a boy, the second they've acted immature, I've been like, "Dude, why are you acting like this?"
And they get mad at you for speaking truth.
And then they get mad at me for speaking the truth. Anytime I've had a friend, anytime there's been a friend around, I've told you I've been like, I'm so tired of boys and girls, bro. I'm so tired of all these girls. I'm so tired of all this drama. I'm so tired of all these boys. So tired of all this like shit talk. And every time I've brought somebody around, every time I brought somebody in my life, the second they show me that they are a child and they are immature, and if I talk to them about a situation, they blow up on me, I'm like, go. Like, I don't want you here. Are you gonna let people be rude to you and let it affect how you're living. If
Mhm.
it's affecting how you're living and you're not enjoying life anymore because of a certain person is around you, and if you, this goes back to what we talked about fucking last week, how I was like, if you can't sit in a room and be by yourself and actually think about the things that you're feeling, you need to be alone. Like,
Yeah.
people need to learn how to be alone in a room, how to actually think about what you're feeling, how to actually feel the emotions that are inside your body, how to actually understand what you're feeling when somebody says something to you, when something happens to you, when something happens around you. You need to understand what emotions that is bringing to light, what that is making you feel, what that is making happen, go on in your head, and then you have to learn how to deal with it. If you can't do that, you can't live freely. I live so freely because I know what triggers me. If something triggers me, I go through it.
Roll a joint.
I bring myself back. If I'm already high, I just get higher, and then I and then I look back and I'm like, when did this start to happen? When did I start freaking out? And then I look at situations that happened around me and I'm like, "Oh, okay. This happened." And then I know why I felt that way and what caused me to trip out.
Yeah.
And I try to avoid that, or I try to come to terms with it. Like, sometimes when an old man is acting a certain way towards me, I freak out. But I already know that that triggers me. So when an old man is acting that way towards me, I take a step back and I
Reflect
breathe.
and react.
I
Reflect and react.
I reflect, and then I approach that old man differently. Like, especially as a server, and if this old man is at my table, I have to take a step back and I approach it differently. And I talk to him in a different way than what I would normally do, which is kind of shitty, but like, I'm not as like flirty if this old man is giving off creepy vibes. You know what I mean?
You're not a whore.
I'm not as like, oh, ha, I'm not as flirty. I'm more like, what can I get you? Like, I'm more like,
Doing your job.
well, no,
Not
because
letting it
no,
affect you.
part of being a server is like interacting with your customers to make them feel at home. You want to get tipped good, you want to interact and you want to connect with that table. So part of being a server, I have to connect with that table. But if like an old guy is giving me off creepy vibes, I can't do that, or else I will have an episode and I will freak out. So I'm more like trying to just talk to him and get him what he needs
Yeah.
and serve his purpose, because a lot of the guys that are like that just want you to do your job. Like, there's a lot of old men that are like, they don't give a fuck. They just want you to slave away because you're a woman. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So like, in order for me to live freely, you gotta understand every emotion that's coming into your mind, everything that you're feeling, and that's how you can forgive and like forget things. Does that make sense?
It does. Yeah. That actually makes total sense. It is.
But half the people that like are our age or are a little bit older than us or a little bit younger than us
Mhm.
don't understand how to take something that happened to you and actually feel it and actually understand why it made you do the things that you did. That's why half the kids our age are alcoholics, and when they get drunk they act a certain way, like crying, anger, uh stripping, like,
Yeah.
because they feel a certain way and then they don't know how to react. They don't know how to take these emotions, think about them, reflect, and then act. They just act. And a lot of kids our age, even sober, they don't know how to take what something is making them feel, actually understand
And they
what these
commit
feelings are
violence.
telling us, and then react. They just react right away. That's why half the kids we know jump from relationship to relationship, because somebody is giving them attention and they think, oh, I
That's the
like this
one.
attention, that's the one, I love them.
Yeah.
When Because they don't know how to take what this person is making them feel and actually be like, okay, what is this feeling like giving me? him talking to me or him being around me? What kind of vibe am I getting? Is he like helping me emotionally? Is he helping me mentally? Is he helping me physically? Um, or is he just cool to be around? Or is he just like good to talk to? Or is she just good to talk to? Or is she just good to be? They don't know how to take these emotions and feelings and actually like understand why they're feeling that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And because they don't know how to do that, they don't know how to live freely and they don't know how to let go of things because they don't know how to take the good kind of emotions that they're getting. Why would they know how to take the bad kind of emotions and all these bad things that are happening to them? How would they know how to take and feel what those emotions are giving to them and find the light in that and actually be able to let go of it? Because if you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If someone came and robbed you right now, you would just be angry.
That's why I always say a cheater is not a cheater. A cheater will not always be a cheater because they don't know. They'll understand that feeling
They'll
that you
understand the feeling of like love,
eventually.
but that's if they know
But
how to
yeah.
take the feeling that they're taking. You know what I mean? If
Hmm.
you're cheating, you're obviously not in love with the person.
Yeah. Maybe at one point, but
Maybe at one point you were, but was that actually love then? Because if you were actually in love with somebody, you could never not be in love with them. They could do so many things to you and they could hurt you in so many different ways and they could cause you so much damage or so much all of this, make you cry all the time or whatever.
yeah.
But you're always going to love them. They could go and they could cheat on you. They could go and they could kill somebody that you liked or they could do all this shit, but you're still going to love them. You can't unlove somebody
Yeah.
ever. That's not how love works. And half these people that think that they were in love, they don't know what love is. The whole
I
main
think
point.
you could stop loving somebody, but you can care for them. Like
No,
for
see,
my ex, I
people
care
think,
for her, but
yeah,
I
but
don't
you
love
don't
her.
love her. People think that caring for somebody is love, and that's why they go and they jump into all these relationships because they think,
Yeah.
oh, if I care for this person, I love them. But that's not what love is.
Yeah.
Like, love is unconditional.
Yeah.
Love is,
I see the good in her and not the worst anymore.
love
Like
is you're fighting.
forgive and forget.
Love is like you're fighting, but you're not fighting with that person.
Yeah.
You're fighting with the problem. My friend and her boyfriend are going through shit, but she's mad at the situation. She's coming to me with the situation and is like, fuck this situation, fuck this, fuck that, fuck that. She's not fuck my boyfriend. He's a bitch. I hate him. She's fuck the situation. That's love. That is something could happen and something could be happening and you could be fighting with this person, but 5 seconds later, you're like, I love you. Or in the conversation, you're like, hey, I care about how this is making you feel. I don't care that I'm in the wrong. I
Yeah.
care that this is hurting you.
Yeah. To a point, the two people will they won't get off on it anymore, and that's why they split because the arguing will just become
Exactly,
too
because they
much.
don't know how to deal with the situation. They don't know how to deal with what's happening to them and what's happening to their emotions and what's actually going on. They don't know how to deal with that situation and what those feelings are making them feel. They don't know how to deal with their emotions. So they're just going to fight with that person because that person or a situation that being with this person put them in is making them feel like shit. And so they're going to just be like, fuck you, because they don't know how to regulate those emotions. But if you love somebody and there's a situation that is causing strain on your relationship and you guys actually talk about it and you guys regulate your emotions together, you regulate your own emotions, the other person regulates their own emotions, they tell each other what those emotions are making them feel, what is actually happening inside their brain, what's actually going on, what they're thinking, and how it actually is making them feel and why. And then the other person does the same thing. They understand each other because they can feel their own emotions, so they can feel somebody else's emotions, and then they fix the problem. But nobody knows how to do that because nobody even knows how to feel their own feelings.
Yeah. Well, if you
If
don't
you
know,
can't feel your own feelings, you can't feel somebody else's feelings. Why do you think I have intuition like a motherfucker? I can feel my feelings, so I can feel other people's feelings just by looking at them.
if I mean, if you don't know your feelings, what I usually tell people is do a little bubble in that middle chart right here. What do they bring in good in the relationship? What bad
See, but
friends or family? And then and then what brings you together?
It's
If
not
you
even.
have
It shouldn't even.
less,
It
if
shouldn't
they bring
even.
less,
It
then
shouldn't even be like that though. It should be, what do I feel? What's making me feel this way? Why is it making me feel this way? Then you understand what's going on inside your head. And then you can go and you can make a chart about a person and you could say, what are they bringing to me? What am I giving to them?
what less are you gaining, and is it
What am I
gonna?
gaining from this? What am I giving from this?
And if it's right, it'll be right, and if it's in, it's in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Are they listening to me? Like, it's all about being able to understand how you actually feel and how things are actually affecting you. Because if you can't do that, how are you going to actually be able to look from somebody else's perspective?
yeah,
I'm able to forgive people so easily because I can go and I can look from their perspective and I can be like, okay, I can see why they did that because they're feeling this way. Because I can feel what people are feeling by looking at them, and if I know them, I can tell by their actions and by their movements and by their tone of voice and by their eyes what they're feeling. And I could be like, hey, are you like blah 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 blah? And they could be like, what? And then I could tell when they're lying. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And you can only, if you can understand that, and you can forgive people easier because you can understand what they're going through and what's making them act this way because they don't know how to regulate emotions, so they're acting out of character and they're doing shit that they wouldn't usually do because they don't know how to feel.
yeah.
And then you could forgive people a lot easier. And then you can forget about it.
5420, this is your captain speaking. As we prepare to land, I request that you buckle your seatbelts. Thank you and have a good day. This is 5420 requesting permission from Mystic Mushroom Way headquarters to land.
Permission granted for Flight 420 to land in Mystic Mushroom Way. Thank you for joining us. Go smoke a blunt.